So today we are going to discuss the fracture femur neck. In the last lecture we have discussed the fracture last lecture we discussed which fracture?
Collinson
Fracture, na? Okay. So these two fractures are very important. Very commonly happens, come across you while practicing, and both are the fracture where mostly in most of cases you can manage very easily. So first, before starting the fracture femur neck, we just take a look little the anatomy of that femur bone. It is the long, you know that it is the longest bone in our body and the strongest too. It has a head, neck, and shaft, and two condyles. These are the major parts, including there are two trochanters, the greater trochanter and lesser trochanter. This is the anterior view and this is the posterior view. So normally in the front side, when we see the lesser trochanter is not visible in X-rays or very minimally visible. In normal person in anatomical position, if you take X-ray in standing position, the lesser trochanter usually is not visible or very minimal visible. When the lesser trochanter is visible, it means the bone has rotated externally. When the bone rotates externally, then it becomes more prominent. And then why? Because it is usually posterior side. When bone rotates externally, it goes medially and it becomes more prominent. So it can be appear in the X-rays. And this is the neck part, and this is the head part, which is fit. Usually that head part is fit into the cavity of the acetabulum. And these are the two condyles, medial condyles and lateral condyles, where it fits to the tibia and fibulas, make the knee joints. Okay, so now come to the fracture of femur neck. So usually the fracture femur neck is categorized in two categories. Means the fracture in the femur neck is studied in two parts, that is intracapsular and extracapsular. In this picture you can see that this is the intracapsular, means complete, when the hip joint is there, the femur head is fit into acetabular cavity and it forms the hip joints. So that joint capsule includes from the neck and exclude the trochanter. Understand? Means the part which includes in the joint capsule, that is the head and neck. So that it is called intracapsular part. And the part which is outside the joint capsule of the femur, that is extracapsular. So extracapsular part includes the lesser trochanter, greater trochanter, and the area intertrochanter or subtrochantary. Understand? So you can see in the fracture, this is the intracapsular fracture because the neck is fractured. Understand? So there is two that in the, so when we see there is this fracture neck, it means we are discussing the intracapsular fractures. Understand? Means the femur neck fracture, when somebody says fracture femur neck, it means we are talking about intracapsular fracture, not extracapsular fracture. Then further move to the pathoanatomy of the intracapsular fractures. So mostly these fractures are displaced Displaced means the two fracture the segments two fragments of the fracture after injury getting displaced means they lost the alignment. The distal segment rotate externally. Why rotate externally? Because the joint capsule is attached to the uh, that this trochanteric area, greater trochanteric area, and if the joint, if the neck is fractured, then due to the muscles, because the muscles are attached from the hip bone to the femur bone, so due to the strong muscular attachments, they continuously there is a one uh, force which is attached to the bones, that hip bone to the femur bone. So that's why they they attack, they attract, means they pull the complete distal segments upwards. That's why this the distal segment migrated proximally and causing shortening of the limb, and at the same time, because of the attachment, the head is still in the acetabular cavity, and the distal segment is disconnected from because the neck is fractured. The distal segment is rotate externally, means the leg of the person will rotate externally, adducted, and proximally migrated, means there is the shortening occurs. But because the joint capsule is attached to the extracapsular part, so that in the intracapsular fracture it is little mean the displacement is little bit less. But if the fracture is extracapsular, or that is when the fracture occurs in the trochanteric area, in the extracapsular area, so the capsule lost any kind of the attachment to the distal segment, and that time this displacement is more marked. That means the displacement is more, the the shifting is more, the external rotation is more. Understand? Means the head and the neck and the trochanteric area, these are in the proper alignment. When this is they lost the connection due to the fracture neck, so that they move externally. The distal part move externally, and the head part moves medially. So there is the various classifications of human neck fractures that included anatomical classifications, Powell's classifications, and Gardner's classifications. Why these classifications are important? Because on the basis of these classifications, you can uh, explain the prognosis of that the fracture, means how it heal, how much time it may take, and what may be the possible complications. Means the detailed prognosis is depends on the which type of fracture it happened, what are the line of fracture, what are the areas included. Understand? Means these classifications are very important in the treatment purpose. So first, the anatomical classifications. So that is subcapital. Subcapital means the fracture happens from below the head and in the neck. So then the transcervical means the neck is fractured. You can see that subcapital just below the head, transcervical, and the basal when the head area is separated from the base. Intertrochanteric means this is the greater trochanter, this is the lesser trochanteric. So the fracture from here, this is intertrochanteric, and the fracture below the head, below the any lesser trochanter is subtrochanteric. When the greater trochanter is fractured, then greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. Understand? Means these are the level of that the fracture: subcapital, transcervical, intertrochanter, basal, as well as the uh, greater trochanter and lesser trochanter. So these kind of means when we discuss this, why it is important, because subcapital and transcervical, these fractures are intracapsular fractures. Here the displacement usually minimal and less, so that they shows good prognosis. But if in the case of intertrochanteric and subtrochanteric, the displacement is very much and have the poor prognosis. The next classification is Powell's classifications. Powell's classifications. This is for the intracapsular fractures. In the intracapsular fractures, the fracture, the fracture that this classification is based on the angle made by the fracture line from an imaginary horizontal line. Understand? So this is an imaginary horizontal line. There is no line is there. We just take imaginary horizontal line at the level of the head of the femur, and now then we estimate the angle of this fracture line. This is the fracture line. Understand? So in the fracture having more angle, means more straight line to the horizontal, means making more angle. The angle is more in this, less. So type 1 has up to 30 degree, type second 30 to 50 degree, and type 3 more than 50 degree. So the more angle, the fracture become more unstable and the prognosis is poor. Why? Because the stability is very much poor. When this fracture is almost horizontal, means then there is no displacement is there, and these two fragments of the fracture are in the same line, so they can join very easily and without displacement. So union is very fine. So if the angle is less, the union is very good. The fracture line is as it is making less angle, means more horizontal. The fracture line, then the fracture segments are less displaced, and they are the union is very good. But as the fracture line become the vertical, means they're making more angle, so these two fragments are unstable. With the, you can see that with the gravity also, this segment can be dependent on this. If the line is straight with the horizontal, as the line becomes straighter, and so that these two segments are having no, means the weight of these fragments is not dependent on this, so that this fracture become more unstable, so that this fracture may have more instability, and that causes it the poor prognosis, and worse prognosis, maybe malunion or the non-union maybe happens. Next classification is the Gardner's classifications. That is also to on the basis that this X-ray, this classification is done on the basis of that when in the findings of the X-rays. Means when you see a long bone, then you can see that longitudinal lines, that white longitudinal lines of the calcifications, that is called the trabeculae. In any bone, when you see an X-ray, you can see that there is a line longitudinally in the bone, that is called trabecular line. So here the trabecular line is seen in the X-rays. You can see if the trabecular line is almost straight or making very little angle, means little a may very little angle from these axes, it means the fracture is unstable sorry, the fracture is incomplete, and the trabecular line are almost straight or making very little angle. The gardens, yes, you can appreciate in this picture very well. You can see these are the trabeculae. These trabeculae are almost straight or just bent here, not completely bent. Me just making little angle. So you can see that this here are the fracture is incomplete. Understand? In the second picture, you can see the fracture line is complete. This is the complete fracture line. So you can see that there is the break in continuity of the trabeculae, and these trabeculae are little bit angulated. So that is stage second. In the stage third, you can see there is the fracture, complete fracture with the displacement. You can see here there is the, you can see in this picture the fracture is not complete, so that the distal segment is not rotated externally, so the lesser trochanter is not visible. But in this X-ray you can see that the external segment is rotated completely, because it breakups completely from the proximal segment, so the lesser trochanter become more visible. And the trabeculae or the complete break in trabeculae, you can see that here the trabeculae are straight, and then here these are the in these lines, means there is the complete break and displaced segments and the complete break in the line of the trabeculae. This is stage third. It becomes more severe. Here these are severity increases and the prognosis become poorer. In the stage 4, you can see there is a complete fracture of that femur neck, and so that this is the overriding of that greater trochanter, means the greater trochanter migrated proximally so much that it comes at the level of the head of the femur. You can see that this is the head and this is the greater trochanter. Usually greater trochanter should be below from the head, but if it is complete fracture and displaced and externally rotations, so that it become that that this greater trochanter of the femur comes at the level of the head of femur. So, and there is complete disconnection in the trabeculae, means and these head of trabeculae of head are these, and the trabeculae of that shaft is this. Okay, means there is a no relations or the in the two trabeculae, or there is a complete loss of contact of the trabecular stream in this, that then it is stage 4. So stage 4 is more complicated, means the complexity of the fracture is increased as with the increase of the stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and you can appreciate that as the stage increases, the fracture become more complex and difficult to treat, and require more interventions and may have more complications too. So now come the clinical features. So this usually the femur neck fracture occurs in the old ages with a very minimal trauma, just like the Coolidge fracture, because the osteoporosis is the main cause which causes the weakening of the bone. So you may find that some old age person comes with the added walk or just little limping, and comes to OPD and says he has little pain in groin, and with a history of trivial trauma, just trivial falls, just he fall from bed, or just fall in the bathroom, or just a very minimal trauma in the elderly age. And then you can see when on the examination you see that that affected limb is externally rotated. You can see this limb is affected, this is adducted, and means it is both limbs are closer adducted, and this is externally rotated. You can see this limb is completely externally rotated, patient has no control over it. And there is shortening also. You can see this limb is up to here, but this is here. So the main cause of this fracture in the old age is the osteoporosis. But in a young age, a severe amount of the trauma is required to break the femur neck. So if the young patient comes with a history of the pain in groin, and then that patient may be not able to walk, because in that case the fracture is very severe and may have some associated other injuries too, and maybe have displaced. But usually in the old age, when the patient comes with a very trivial trauma, means very minimal trauma, then it may be there is the femur neck fracture, and that may be stage 1, that there is no partial fracture, or the only impaction is there, no displacement is there, so that patient can come to walk also. So you see, when you have the patient like this, having pain in groin and having minimal trauma in old age, or the severe trauma in the young age, then you just examine. So on the examination, your first finding is there external rotation of the limb and shortening of limb. This is the most important feature of the femur neck fractures. Okay, and in young age, if the young age patient is there, means there is severe trauma, so there is severe pain and swelling in the hip joint. But in the old age, there is a minimal tenderness in the groin, and patient is there is a painful moment in the hip joint when you do the Fabry test. Fabry means flexion, adduction, and external rotations. Flexion, abduction, and external rotations. So when you do this Fabry test, it is not possible to do Fabry test in the patient of a femur neck fracture or any other hip joint abnormality. And the SLR test, active SLR, straight leg raising test, is always not possible in the patient of the femur neck fracture. Means patient will not be able to raise his leg straightly by actively. If passively you do, that is the painful also. But patient in active, when we talk about the actively, then patient will not be able to do the SLR test. So these are the clinical features. Now come to that this means which it will differentiate two kind of the two fracture, femur neck fracture and intertrochanter fractures. Usually the age of the patient in the neck fractures after 50 and intertrochanter after 60. Age in female neck fracture is more common in females, and intertrochanter fracture is more common in males. Maybe due to that females having some little wider pelvis, that may cause the neck fracture more common in females. Injury, the neck fracture may be occurs due to the trivial trauma, very minimal trauma, but in the intertrochanteric, it required significant amount of trauma. Significant amount of force is required to break the bone from intertrochanteric area. Ability to walk, patient with a femur neck fracture can walk, may walk with the impacted, if the fracture is impacted and not displaced very much, so the patient may be walk. But in the intertrochanteric fracture, patient may not be able to walk. Pain, swelling, and tenderness is minimal in the neck fracture, whereas in the intertrochanteric fracture is usually severe. And talk about the external rotations is less than 45° in the neck fracture, but if it is the intertrochanteric fracture, it is more than 45°. We already discussed earlier, because intertrochanteric fracture is extracapsular fracture, so the joint capsule has no control over the distal segment. That's why the distal segment rotate more means more rotation occurs, and that's why the degree is more than 45 degrees. And in the same, the shortening in the neck fracture, there is a shortening occurs less than 1 inch, while in the intertrochanter fractures there is a more than 1 inch of shortening occurs in the limbs. Now come to the radiological findings. Always remember, if you suspect the femur neck fracture, always ask for the X-ray of the both hip, means both sides, so that you can uh, compare easily to hip joint. So you can compare both femur, so that it's very easy to diagnose. You can see there is the break in cortex of the bone, means that the break in trabeculae of the neck of the cortex of that femur neck, and due to the external rotations, the trochanter, which is not visible usually or very minimal visibly in normal person, but if it is femur neck is fractured, it become the lesser trochanter become more visible. And in the, if the impaction is there, there is overwriting of that greater trochanter, so it comes at the level of the head of the femurs, and the break in the trabecular systems, and the break in the sentence lines. So sentence line, these are very important radiological findings which you have find in any case of the femur neck fractures. So sentence line is the line, it is also an imaginary line, there is no actual line. In the X-ray, you have to draw a line from the lesser trochanter to and comes to the ischium. So there is the blue line. You can see there is a one circular line. Okay, so if you can draw a circular line just from below to the just from the below to the neck and to the ischium of the bone. So pubic bone up to here, you can draw a circular line. It means the sentence line is maintained. It means there is no fracture femur neck in that patient. This is the X-ray of very young age patients. Young age patient. That's why you can see that the head is not properly that developed. But in the case where you can see the fracture, the sentence line is not maintained properly, because here you can see here up to here it's okay, but now this part is here, means the sentence line is not maintained properly. It means there is a fracture in the femur neck. Okay, so here this is the case of the femur neck fracture. Understand? So it is very important to see these radiological findings. Always try to find out these findings in a patient. Then you can diagnose easily the case of femur neck fracture. Understand?